story time with Rick. Dragon drives it now. This is the racing genre, or whatever you want to call it. This is the hot thing right now. We raced in front of a big crowd. It was awesome. They were running out of food. The bathrooms had big lines in them.
Sick week at Bradenton.
Completely rewired the car again, rebuilt the motor twice since then.
Rough night, long drive, late start.
So my goal is I wanted to bring home an orange helmet. This is the trophy.
Going into this event, I had a handful of goals, which the first one is always to finish. It may not seem like much, but that is the most difficult thing to do, is actually finish.
Well, I was hoping for a repeat of last year. I was feeling really good about it.
I also was hoping to get my license before everything started, to go faster than 750. If I could make a podium finish, that would have been awesome. Those were my goals.
Did we just win?
We came down a couple days early to test. We fought rain in Georgia. There's still snow on the ground.
Day one, we had too many cars entered, and then we had a late start to the day.
The herd didn't get thinned on day 0. The herd got thinned on day 1, and everyone only got one pass.
My first pass was a 751. Which is too slow for the license pass. But ultimately I was happy with the pass.
With Sick Week, it's not just run as fast as you possibly can. There has to be some kind of strategy. We were locked into second place. First place was a second ahead of us, and third place was almost a second behind us. Kind of set our tone for the entire week.
Day 1, I went an 8.0 at like 138 miles an hour. I also have this thing where I lift really early for whatever reason. Half of it that the car scares the ever living shit out of me. I think we didn't leave the track till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Also was the longest drive, so we knew going into it there was not going to be any sleeping. In fact, the fact that we got back to the hotel and made it to a hotel, I think was a win.
We went into this week too, like looking at the cars that were coming. And I was like, there's no way we're all going to be in quarantine. But all week, all 3 of us were in quarantine. So it felt pretty good.
So quarantine is if you're 850 or faster, top 3 in your class. So to be in quarantine or impound, whatever you want to call it, is an accomplishment on itself. You're being watched and scrutinized a little bit closer, but you get to get a fast pass to the track. It's also a huge benefit to you to get into that quarantine, so you could go up and just run. We stayed in quarantine all week, so that was pretty awesome. Even with my botched pass on day 1 where I was in 3rd, I think Chuck was in 2nd, and Bob I think he was in 1st or 2nd. It was a really great feeling just to roll up and be able to park together with the cool kids. We have a pretty good system with our co-pilots to get the cars turned around. I mean, I think Chuck's got a team of like 14 people that come out of there.
We have a really big operation when it comes to switching everything over. It's not just spark plugs and tires. That's why it's nice having a full crew like I have. And we can get it done. Like, we've gotten it done in about 35 minutes, I think is the fastest. Ray comes in and does all the spark plugs. And then Tom comes in and he changes out the front shocks. Logan swoops in underneath and he drops the containment tray off of it so we get more air past the wheel pan. It's a lot of work.
Oh, fuck, watch your feet, watch your feet.
But it's worth it. We actually went to individual pack outs for each person. So I put their name on each of them that have the tools and any parts they need to do their task on every job. One guy drives all the way from Maryland. you know, to come help me work on the car. And then Logan, you know, he's not close either. He's over an hour away, but he also has a lot invested in the transmission and torque converter end of it, you know, from 501 converter. So Ray spent many nights helping me not only work on the car, but get the trailer ready. You know, we put a new axle underneath the trailer. It's a huge team thing. It's not just one person. Anytime there's any question, hey, should we make another pass? Should we put more in it? It's not just me making that decision. I turn to them and I'm like, listen guys, like, what do we want to do?
Day 2, I was able to get my second license pass. It was such a weight off my shoulders. The car went a 735, which was a personal best for me that day. So I was excited on multiple levels.
I actually did make 2 passes. We turned it up, we ended up spinning and put way too much in it, but you don't know what too much is on a brand new combination.
Day 2, we got it done. It was a 777, we called it good. Came back and Jimmy gets under the car, started doing the tires, and he's like, hey, your shock is dangling. My shock mount broke off. So we had to do I guess what you called a side quest. One of Jimmy's buddies just happens to live in Florida, was there visiting, checking out what we're doing. He says, hey, my brother lives, you know, 25, 30 minutes from here. Pulled into this really cool little shop that he had in his backyard with a bunch of cool old cars in it and a lift that was open and a TIG welder that was ready to go. And he is a professional chassis builder for motorcycles. So he welded that tab back on, probably better and stronger than it was. We had a little 2 or 3 hour long side quest. I met up with the rest of the guys on the route. And so we could live to see another day. Day 3, I think was Orlando, and I ended up going a 791.
One and done, I went a 740. I want to be sub 750s. That's really where I wanted to be all week.
I think everyone's day 3 went pretty smooth. We got the cruise past Daytona Beach and see the water, and that's when Chuck's steering rack decided it was being pretty unsafe and we needed to fix that.
Steering was really loose. It's not safe when you got 7,000 pounds rolling down the road and you can't steer a vehicle.
He had enabled my welding abilities, so this time I got tagged in to weld on someone else's car.
Oh, fuck it. Jesus. The ground wasn't quite good. They used me.
We made it to a buddy's house. He let us use his lift and we swapped out the rack and made some changes. And I think that rack has been bad for a long time.
Am I coming to you or are you coming to me? You're stationary. Okay.
I think we got back to the hotel for day 4 at midnight. So we got 6 hours of sleep. So now we're up to 12 hours of sleep for the week. So day 4, we went into it feeling great. Everything checked out great. Our engine was sounding like a sewing machine and sound perfect. I go up to make my pass. About 6 seconds into the pass, I'm staring at my new no-lift light, and it never came on before the car just shut off. And then I pulled the parachutes, and I looked down at my dash, and I saw no RPM. And then I saw smoke start barreling out of my one exhaust pipe, and that's when I knew more than likely I was going to be done. And I said, boy, does that not feel good.
I don't mind sticking around with my friends. My day is coming.
Bob went out, and the turbo exploded.
All the rattle sounds, the car just fell right on its face. Luckily, we knew somebody that was out that had pretty much the exact same turbo I had.
At this point, we got to go a 770 or faster to secure number one. I said, Bob, pull your laptop out. We got to make a tune. We got to go fast, so we're not going to pull any timing out of it. It might blow the engine up. I don't know. I go, when you name this tune, I need you to name it Lord Hear Our Prayers and send that tune.
This was it. Lanes were closed, so it was going to work. It wasn't. And I had to drive it a little bit, but I wasn't lifting.
Did we just win?
Went into this week just not thinking we were all going to be in quarantine to taking home a helmet.
The fact that we get to drive in on that last day, let alone make the pass on the last day, it's a feeling that you can only experience if you do it. You know, the fact that there was 385 cars that competed and I finished 10th, so top 10, is pretty impressive.
It's super easy to get discouraged at these things when this happens. You know, this stuff it's not cheap to do by no means. It's at least a $5,000 deal to do one of these. Then you break it, it's another $15,000, and then you're like, oh my God, what have I done? You know, and sometimes you have to humble yourself, count your blessings that you're in a position to actually lose that $20,000 and it not destroy your livelihood. So I try to keep that forefront that, you know, I still get to do this wild shit. I'm gonna fix it and I'm gonna do this wild shit again.